There's an undeniable power in silence. When someone walks away, when they take you for granted, when they assume you'll always be there waiting, your instinct might be to speak, to explain, to prove your worth. But what if I told you that the most powerful thing you can do in that moment is nothing? We live in a world where people are addicted to noise. Texts, calls, social media updates, constant interaction has made it easy to take connection for granted. When you remove yourself from that equation, when you go silent, you disrupt that pattern. You introduce an unfamiliar void, and that void is where realization happens. Silence forces a person to confront their own emotions in a way that words never could. Because words can be argued with, they can be ignored, dismissed, or misinterpreted. But silence lingers. Silence is a mirror. It makes him sit with the consequences of his own actions without you there to cushion the impact. At first, he might feel relieved. That's natural. He might think, okay, she's finally gone. I have space. But here's what happens next. Once the distractions wear off, once the initial sense of freedom fades, he'll start to notice what's missing. The conversations, the check-ins, the warmth of your presence. And suddenly, what felt like freedom starts to feel like emptiness. That's the moment when your silence starts working. That's the moment when he realizes he doesn't have access to you anymore. And this is where most people go wrong. They break the silence too soon. They let their emotions take over. They reach out. They try to explain. But what they don't realize is that the power of silence is cumulative. The longer you hold it, the deeper its impact. Think about it this way. If someone walks out of your life and you immediately try to pull them back, what message are you sending? You're telling them you can leave and I'll still be here waiting. But when you stay silent, when you let them experience the weight of your absence, you send an entirely different message. You show them that their choices have consequences. You show them that you are not an option. They either step up or they lose you entirely. And that's when they start obsessing. Not because you manipulated them, not because you played games, but because you changed the pattern. You removed their ability to take you for granted. That's what creates regret. That's what makes them rethink everything. But here's the most important part. This isn't about waiting for him to realize your worth. It's about you realizing it first. When you stay silent, you're not just making a statement to him. You're making a statement to yourself. You're proving that you don't need to beg for someone's attention, that you are perfectly whole on your own. And when you operate from that mindset, something incredible happens. You stop needing his validation at all. That's the real shift. Because the moment you step into your power, the moment you stop chasing and start choosing, you become the one who is truly in control. And trust me, there's nothing more attractive, nothing more magnetic than someone who knows their own worth. So the next time you feel the urge to reach out, to explain, to get closure, pause, take a deep breath. And remember, your silence is saying everything that needs to be said. And if he was ever truly meant to be in your life, he'll hear it loud and clear. And if he doesn't, well, that just proves he was never listening to begin with. One of the hardest things to accept in any relationship is that people don't change when you tell them to. They don't wake up one morning transformed because of a heartfelt speech or a perfectly worded text. They change when their reality shifts, when something forces them to confront what they've lost. And that's why silence is so powerful. When you walk away and stay silent, you create a space where he has to wrestle with his own thoughts. You take away the comfort of knowing you'll always be there, always reaching out, always making things easier for him. And in that space, something crucial happens. He begins to experience contrast. Contrast is what makes people wake up. It's what makes someone go from feeling comfortable to feeling unsettled. Right now, he might feel like he can have you whenever he wants. Maybe he thinks you'll always be there. But when you remove yourself, when you give him nothing, no texts, no calls, no reactions, he's forced to live in the absence of what he once had. And that's when regret starts to creep in. At first, he might not notice it. He'll go about his life as usual, convinced that nothing has changed. But then, slowly, reality starts to set in. He checks his phone and sees no messages from you. He posts something online and doesn't get a reaction. He goes through his day and realizes that the person who used to check in, who used to care, who used to give him warmth, is gone. And here's what most people don't understand. Regret doesn't hit all at once. It builds over time. It's in the small, quiet moments, the nights when he's alone, phone and suddenly remembers how you made him feel. The mornings when he wakes up and realizes that no one is thinking about him the way you once did. But here's the thing, you can't manufacture this feeling for him. You can't force someone to feel your absence if you're still half present, still checking in, still leaving the door open. True absence means you are truly gone, not pretending, not playing games, but genuinely removing yourself and allowing him to feel what life is like without you in it. This is where many people get stuck. They go silent for a few days, maybe a week. And when they don't see an immediate reaction, they panic. They think, what if he doesn't miss me? What if he's moving on? What if he never comes back? And so they reach out, trying to spark something, trying to see if he cares. But what they don't realize is that regret takes time. And by breaking the silence too soon, they rob themselves of the very outcome they're hoping for. You have to trust that your absence is doing the work for you. You have to be patient enough to let him feel the weight of losing you instead of rushing in to rescue him from that feeling. Because if he does reach a point of regret, if he does start to miss you, it will be because he came to that realization, not because you forced him to. And here's the most important part. This isn't about winning. This isn't about proving a point or making him suffer. This is about respecting yourself enough to walk away from someone who didn't appreciate you when he had you. This is about giving yourself the chance to see if he truly values you without you having to remind him. So if you're in that space right now, if you're wondering whether your silence is making an impact, I want you to ask yourself this. Are you willing to be patient enough to find out? Are you willing to hold your ground, to resist the urge to check in, to give him the space to feel your absence fully? Because if you are, then one of two things will happen. Either he'll come back with a renewed sense of appreciation for you, or you'll realize that he was never capable of giving you what you deserved in the first place. And either way, you win, because the person who truly loses is the one who took you for granted. One of the greatest mistakes people make when trying to make someone feel the pain of losing them is believing that silence alone is enough. They think that if they simply stop reaching out, stop responding, stop engaging, that the other person will automatically start to miss them. But silence without substance is just emptiness. If you want him to truly feel your absence, it's not just about going quiet. It's about what you do in that silence. Right now, he expects you to wait. He expects you to dwell, to wander, to hesitate. He might even believe that if he decided to walk back into your life, you'd be there, unchanged, unmoved, and still hoping for his return. And that's exactly why silence alone is not enough. You need to show through your actions that you are not just waiting for him to realize your worth, you are living in it. Think about this. When someone loses something valuable, what makes them regret it? It's not just the absence of the thing itself, but the realization that it's thriving without them. When you cut off contact and do nothing, it might create a void, but it doesn't create contrast. But when you remove yourself and elevate, when you disappear and come back stronger, happier, more radiant, that's when he starts to feel it. People don't miss what they lose. They miss what they can no longer have. They miss what evolves beyond them. They regret when they see that while they remained the same, you became something greater. So let me ask you this. What are you doing in your silence? Are you sitting in the shadows, waiting to see if he notices? Or are you stepping into the light, becoming someone even you wouldn't want to lose? Because if he sees you rising, if he sees you glowing in a way that has nothing to do with him, that's when he starts to feel the weight of what he walked away from. Now, this isn't about pretending. It's not about staging a highlight reel of your life on social media, posting photos just to get his attention, or trying to manufacture an image of happiness. That kind of effort is transparent and it doesn't create real impact. What does is genuine transformation, the kind that is undeniable, the kind that isn't performative but real. And here's the beautiful thing. When you focus on truly becoming better, when you redirect all of that energy inward instead of waiting for him to validate you, something incredible happens. You stop caring whether he regrets losing you or not, because you realize that the real power was never in his recognition. It was in your evolution. emotion. The truth is, people don't feel the pain of losing someone when that person is stagnant. They feel it when they see that person outgrowing them. So if you truly want him to regret, don't just remove yourself, reinvent yourself. Work on your body, your mind, your passions, your goals. Make your life so full, so magnetic that even if he doesn't reach out, you won't even notice because you'll be too busy moving forward. There's a reason why people tend to come back the moment you no longer want them. It's because energy doesn't lie. Desperation has a scent, and so does confidence. When you stay silent but stay the same, he still holds power over you. But when you stay silent and become someone even you admire, you shift that power back to yourself. And here's the real kicker. When you do this right, you won't even want him back anymore. Because the version of you that is emerging, the one who is finally stepping into her worth, won't settle for someone who only values her in hindsight. So the real question is this: are you brave enough to let go of who you were so that you can step into who you're meant to be? Because if you are, then you won't need silence to make him feel your loss. Your transformation will do all the talking for you. One of the most profound ways to make someone feel the pain of losing you is to master the art of detachment. But let's be clear, detachment doesn't mean apathy. It doesn't mean you never cared or that you have to pretend you don't feel anything. True detachment is about reclaiming your emotional power. It's about freeing yourself from the need for external validation and shifting your focus back to where it belongs. On you. When you're emotionally attached to someone who has taken you for granted, every action or inaction they take has the ability to shake you. You analyze their silence. You overthink their responses. You wait for them to wake up and realize what they lost. And in that waiting, you unknowingly give them control over your emotional state. But here's the truth. As long as you're waiting for someone to realize your worth, you are placing your self-esteem in their hands. You are allowing them to determine whether you should feel valuable or not. And that is the very thing that keeps you stuck in pain, rather than making them feel the weight of your absence. The moment you detach, the dynamic shifts. Suddenly, they don't have access to your emotions the way they once did. They don't get to feed off your longing, your need for closure, or your desperation for their attention. They don't get the comfort of knowing that you're still emotionally invested, still waiting for them to make a decision about you. And this is what unsettles them. This is what makes them start to feel the pain of losing you. Because let's be honest, people don't fully appreciate what they have until they feel its absence. And they don't feel absence just because you've gone silent. They feel it when they sense that your energy is no longer centered around them. Imagine for a moment that you are an oasis in the desert. You are the place of comfort, security, and reassurance. He could always come back, take a sip, feel validated, and leave again, knowing that the water would still be there. But what happens when that oasis dries up? What happens when he returns to drink and there is nothing left? That's when panic sets in. That's when regret begins to creep in. Because it's not just your words he misses. It's the feeling of being prioritized by you. It's the way you used to check in, the way you used to care, the way you used to be available whenever he needed you. And when all of that disappears, it forces him to confront a reality he didn't expect. That your world doesn't revolve around him anymore. Now, here's where most people struggle. They think that if they cut someone off, the other person will immediately feel their absence. But absence alone isn't always enough. It's what you do in that absence that matters. If you detach but secretly hope he chases you, you're still energetically tied to him. If you stop texting, but you're constantly checking his social media, you're still giving him space in your mind. If you say you've moved on, but you're still measuring your progress based on whether or not he notices, you're still emotionally entangled. Detachment means you don't need his recognition. You don't need his regret to validate your worth. You don't need him to wake up, apologize, or suddenly realize what he lost in order for you to feel whole. And ironically, that is what makes people start to feel the loss the most. Because when someone truly moves on, there is no door left open. There is no lingering attachment for them to hold on to. There is no safety net for them to fall back on. And that's when reality hits. So if you really want him to feel the pain of losing you, don't just withdraw your presence. Withdraw your need for his validation. Step so fully into your own power that his absence no longer feels like a loss to you, but his absence from your life becomes a loss to him. And that's the paradox. The moment you truly let go, you create the space for him to truly feel what he lost. Because nothing is more powerful than realizing that someone who once cared deeply about you no longer does. There's a reason silence is so powerful. It's not just about the absence of words, it's about the presence of something far greater, mystery, self-respect, and the kind of energy that commands attention without needing to beg for it. When someone loses you, the most painful part isn't just the lack of communication, it's the realization that they no longer have access to you the way they once did. You are an asset that they no longer have access to you the way they once did. And nothing makes that reality sink in deeper than seeing you thrive in your own world without them. Think about it. What's the most common reaction when someone starts pulling away? Panic, confusion, a sudden rush of emotions that weren't there when the person was readily available. That's because human nature makes us value things in their absence far more than in their presence. It's why people take air for granted until they struggle to breathe. It's why someone can seem indifferent to your love, but the moment they sense that your love is no longer theirs to have, they feel its weight in a way they never did before. But here's the mistake most people make. They assume that simply going silent is enough. They assume that if they just stop talking, the other person will come running back, overwhelmed with regret. And while silence is powerful, what makes it undeniable is what you do in that silence. Because silence mixed with stagnation does nothing. If you disappear from someone's life but remain stuck in the same patterns, the same mindset, and the same emotional state, they don't feel like they're missing anything. But if your silence is paired with undeniable growth, if your absence is filled with your own evolution, that is when the regret kicks in. It's about shifting the energy. Instead of withdrawing into isolation, you channel all the love, effort, and attention you once gave to them into yourself. And when they look back, they don't just see an empty space where you used to be. They see a version of you they no longer have access to. A version that is happier, more radiant, more confident. And that's when it hurts, because the biggest pain of losing someone isn't just missing them. It's realizing that while you were busy taking them for granted, they were outgrowing the need for you altogether. This is the key. You don't make someone regret losing you by disappearing. You make them regret it by evolving into someone they can no longer reach. And this isn't about playing games. This isn't about pretending to be happy so they notice. It's about genuinely pouring into yourself in a way you never have before. It's about recognizing that the energy you once spent trying to fix, chase, or convince someone to value you is your energy. It belongs to you. And the moment you reclaim it, you become magnetic, not just to them, but to everyone. Because confidence is magnetic. Self-respect is magnetic. A person who knows their worth doesn't have to chase or prove anything. And when someone realizes they once had access to that kind of energy but lost it, that's when the regret becomes undeniable. Now, here's where most people get stuck. They think, but what if he never notices? What if he never regrets it? And that question alone is proof that they're still making it about the other person. They're still holding on. Because the truth is, if you're still waiting for someone to notice, you haven't fully detached. You haven't truly stepped into your power. The real goal isn't for them to regret losing you. It's for you to become so fulfilled, so whole within yourself that their regret or lack of it doesn't even matter anymore. And ironically, that is what triggers the deepest regret of all. Because nothing makes a person feel their loss more than knowing they no longer have any effect on you, that they are no longer a central figure in your mind, that you have moved on. Not as a performance, not as a tactic, but as a genuine evolution. So the question is, where is your energy going? Are you spending it waiting for them to wake up? Or are you using it to build a life that makes you feel alive? Are you still living in their shadow? Or are you stepping fully into your own light? Because the best revenge isn't anger. It isn't bitterness. It isn't even making them jealous. The best revenge is becoming so deeply fulfilled in your own life that their absence no longer feels like a loss to you, but your absence becomes a loss to them. And that's the kind of regret that lingers. There's a one that comes later than expected, when the full weight of regret settles in. It doesn't happen right away. At first, it's just a passing thought, a fleeting curiosity. I wonder what she's doing. Then it becomes a habit, a subconscious search for traces of your presence. But by the time it turns into something deeper, something resembling true loss, it's too late. Because by then, you've become someone they can no longer reach. This is the part most people don't realize. Regret isn't immediate. It doesn't happen the moment you walk away. It happens when your absence starts to feel permanent, when they finally understand that you are not just missing from their life, but that their life is now missing you. And the reason silence is so powerful is that it forces them to sit with that absence. It creates space for them to reflect, to feel the emptiness where your presence used to be. Because when you're still there, when you're still answering, still checking in, still making yourself available, they never get the chance to feel your loss. You become a safety net, something they can return to at their convenience. And as long as that safety net exists, there's no urgency, no true reflection, no reason for them to truly change. But when you remove yourself fully, when you step away without explanation, without a performance, without a dramatic exit, that's when the real pain begins. Because now they have to confront the reality that you're not waiting for them, that they are not entitled to your presence, that your energy was never a given, it was a gift. And the moment they realize that, the regret sets in. Because people don't miss access to you. They miss the way they felt when they had you. They miss the way you made their world feel fuller, warmer, more alive. And when they realize that no one else makes them feel the way you did, that no one else sees them with the same depth, that no one else understands them the way you did, that's when they truly feel the loss. But here's the crucial part. It only works if your silence is real. If you're still peeking back, still hoping, still waiting for them to get it, they will feel that energy. They will know you're still there, even if you're silent. And as long as they know that, they don't truly feel your loss. That's why the most powerful thing you can do is not just stay silent, but stay gone. Not as a strategy, not as a test, but as a choice to prioritize yourself, a choice to stop proving your worth and start living it. Because when someone really regrets losing you, it's not just because they miss you. It's because they understand they lost access to a version of you that will never exist for them again. They see you moving forward, growing, thriving, and they realize they are no longer part of that journey. And that is the pain of losing someone for real. Not the immediate sting, not the fleeting nostalgia, but the long-term reality of knowing that you are now someone they can only watch from a distance. The biggest mistake people make is thinking that regret is about making someone chase you again. It's not. True regret is about making them realize they can't, that the door they once took for granted is now permanently closed. And that's why this is never about them. It's about you, about shifting your energy from seeking validation to fully embracing your own power. Because the moment you stop looking back, stop waiting for them to notice, stop hoping they wake up, that's when they do. But by then, you won't care. And that, more than anything, is what will haunt them.